Today on the channel from Jack's Classic Superstars 2-Pack Series 7, we got the Toys R Us exclusive 4 Horsemen pack with Lex Luger and Dean Malenko.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Jack's Classic Superstars 2-Pack unboxing and review. And today we're all the way up to Series 7 in the Toys R Us exclusive 2-Packs with the 4 Horsemen members, Lex Luger and Dean Malenko, the Iceman himself. But remember, for all your modern day wrestling figure needs, make sure you're hitting up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. And of course, we're going to do this unboxing like we do all the other ones here on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And this one, a lot of controversy with this pack. I remember when it was released, a lot of people, that weren't following along with action figures were like, this is a weird 4 Horsemen pack, as Lex Luger and Dean Malenko were never in the Horsemen at the same time. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, as a lot of us know that collect action figures and follow along, especially back in the day, Lex Luger was originally supposed to be Chris Benoit. It was kind of the new 4 Horsemen, of course. A glorious time for the Horsemen with Malenko and Benoit, 2 of my absolute all-time favorites as part of the Horsemen. Truly a great time with the Horsemen. You had Arn Anderson around, of course, Ric Flair. Really disappointing, the whole Kurt Hennig thing. What could have been with all that? But very disappointing, of course, Chris Benoit. During this time, this was about ready to be released. The Chris Benoit whole event went down. Just a sad, sad thing for wrestling that day, probably the darkest day in wrestling history in a lot of ways. So very disappointing not to get Chris Benoit, but totally understood why it happened, why he was not here. So what they did is, hey, we have the rights to Lex Luger. He was a Horseman member. We can throw him in there very easily. It makes sense. It's not ideal, but it does keep this entire wave 4 Horsemen, which I do appreciate at the end of the day. And now Dean Malenko, one of my all-time favorite guys, one of the most underserved, undervalued wrestlers of all time. The man of 1,000 holds, stole our hearts in ECW in Japan, WCW, and even a little bit in WWE, at least China's heart, at least, I think. But Dean Malenko, one of the guys who, if he was around right now, would be one of the biggest internet darlings of all time, I'd have to imagine. But I loved the Iceman back in the day, just like I loved Chris Benoit. So I'm always excited to get a Dean Malenko figure. It is very rare. We did get a Mattel Elite. We did get a Classic Superstars besides this one. But besides that, not a lot of love being thrown Dean Malenko's way. On the flip side, Lex Luger, a guy that's had many figures over the years, even more figures now, all these Elite figures, things like that. So very cool all these years later to get all these Lex Luger figures. But of course, we're going to do this unboxing. We do all the other ones on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. I already said it, but I'm saying it again. I don't care. I don't care. But there it is. Old Lex and Dean, a very interesting 2-pack. Interesting, get a steel chair, and I believe that's the WWE Cruiserweight title. Doesn't make a lot of sense here either in this pack, but what do you know? It is what it is, I guess. What can you do after all these years? There's Lex and Dean on the side. Lex Luger, Dean Malenko over there. And on the back of the package, we got Lex and Dean, the glamour shots, got the tail of the tape, the blurb, the Horseman Murders Row, you got Rick and Barry, you got Tully and Arn, you got Lex and Dean, UPC's warnings. Let's see what the tail of the tape says. Dean Malenko debuted 1979. Is that true? That feels not right. I don't know. I might have to look at that. I might have to fact check that. 208 pounds, 5'8". Finishing move, the Texas Cloverleaf. I always said back in the day, if I ever became a wrestler, Texas Cloverleaf would be my finishing move. I always loved that move. Very, very cool. Lex Luger debuted in 85, 275 pounds, height 6'4", finishing move, the Human Torture Rack, an all-time finisher move, of course. Looking really, really good. But let's get them out of the package. Let's do it for science. Let's get these guys out. See what all the fuss is about. Oh, there's fuss. There's definitely fuss about this pack. Just not the kind of fuss we wanted with the whole Benoit deal. See you later. Goodbye. Plastic Prison. There it is. Looking pretty good there. Let's pop them out. There's old Luger. Steel chair. Title. Dean Malenko. See you later. All right. Let's start it off here. We'll start with the steel chair. We've seen a steel chair numerous times in the line. Very just kind of thrown in here with this one. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. There's the old steel chair for the boys. Then we'll go Dean Malenko. We get this WWE Cruiserweight title. One of the ugliest titles ever. That big squarish kind of plate. Not a big fan of this. Doesn't make a lot of sense here. I believe Dean did hold that title, but doesn't really make a lot of sense to put it in this pack at least. Now we get down to Dean Malenko here, and probably the all-time worst 4 Horsemen Horsemen shirt that was ever released is this shirt. So it is kind of disappointing they put this shirt on him. Absolutely hate this shirt. Just nothing redeeming about it. It's got 4 horses and the 4 horsemen are in it. I mean, could we be a little less original? I guess so. But all day long, I know this is Dean Malenko. When I look at the head sculpt, looking really, really good. Nice tan on Dean Malenko here. Spending some time in the tanning bed or the sun. I'm not exactly sure. The black shirt kind of is what it is. I honestly would prefer this to be shirtless Dean Malenko because I love these trunks. I love the trunks on this one. Would look better without a shirt on top, that is for sure. Looking at the articulation on this, going to be the same for Lex Luger. Arms go all the way around, bicep cut, elbows back and forth, side to side, single jointed, hands back and forth, side to side, head back and forth, side to side, waist back and forth, side to side. Getting a theme here. You get the legs that go up, single jointed knees, ankles back and forth. Black knee pads on Dean Malenko, looking really good. Receding hairline on Dean Malenko as well here. But a strong Dean Malenko, just the shirt really ruins it for me. I wish this was just shirtless Dean Malenkos. I've been screaming, give me all the shirtless Dean Malenkos. I love Dean without a shirt. I don't know about that, but I do love Dean Malenko, and I'm happy anytime. Even if it's not the best, it's still cool to get a Dean Malenko figure at the end of the day, especially if you're a Dean Malenko guy like myself. So very cool. I did forget to mention, like all the figures in this wave, he does come with the old 4 horsemen fingers. Absolutely do love that. Very cool to see there. Now we turn our attention over to Lex Luger here, and I don't know. This is a big, big mess of a figure for sure. Would have been better just to have black trunks Lex Luger, really, at the end of the day, because this shirt wasn't even around when he was a member of the 4 Horsemen. This shirt's from like 10 years after he left the 4 Horsemen, maybe even longer than that. Very strange, but a very iconic 4 Horsemen shirt for me, as I did rock this in high school back in the day. Or maybe it was junior high. Whatever. I rocked it back in the day. Lex Luger here looking a little bit like an elf. Sometimes his Jax figures give a little elf vibe to him. I don't know why, but I always just kind of feels a little elf-like he should be in Lord of the Rings or something. He does got a mullet you can set your watch to, though, if you need to. But it's definitely Lex Luger. Maybe a little bit too elongated on the head, but you do know it's Lex Luger, I think, if you're a wrestling fan, if somebody handed you this head. He does got those 4 Horsemen fingers. He got to throw them up at one time, as we do know. Then he's got a Fist of Fury on the other side, and you got black wrist tape. Of course, articulation going to be the exact same as Dean Malenko, as we do know. He does got the black trunks, very iconic with Lex Luger. When I think of Lex Luger, I think of the black trunks, and I think of those bright orange trunks he used to wear. That's what I think of when I think of him. His leg goes up there. We got the black knee pads and white boots. Definitely looks like Lex Luger, just a hodgepodge mess of a Lex Luger figure. This shirt really does throw this one off. So a lot of issues with this pack from the get-go. It's almost like this was snake-bitten with the whole Chris Benoit tragedy. They almost should have moved on or went back to the drawing board a little bit. But at the end of the day, it is 2 4 Horsemen members. There's no doubting that. So they can throw up these 4 fingers if they need to. That does work here. But very cool, just not as cool as it really could have been. I think that's my final verdict with this set here. But what is your verdict? What do you think about this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell, as we got videos every single day and then some, and even more content for you on Patreon. Your best way to support the channel and all the content, and a place to get videos sometimes years early. Yes, you heard it here first, years earlier than traditional YouTube. And you can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget to hit me up and follow along over on social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter. Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Lex Luger and the man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.